Hello.
Yes, sis. She just took a break.
All right, guys, thank you for giving me 2 minutes. So we are about to start Q&A. So today is day 2 of the Wealthy Trustee Workshop. We just finished setting up our private family trust. So we went through the declaration, we went through the indenture, we went through schedules A, B, C, and D, and the certificate of trust. So I want to be able to answer any and all questions that you guys might have regarding the information that we set up today. So the first person that I see is Uzi. All right, Uzi.
Thanks for the wonderful lesson today. The
You're
question was
Thank you.
in regards to, I believe it was Article 15 or 16, but it was in
Mhm.
reference to who is deemed to be competent to receive benefits. And I wanted to ask and see, can it be placed inside the agreement, like someone with an addiction? Like if you got a family member who's addicted to drinking or some kind of drugs, anything like that, can you place a restriction on them and the benefits they receive and how they are to receive them? As to say, the fund pays their rent, they don't get the money straight out. The fund pays their rent, or the fund pays these bills for them instead of them receiving straight out the money because they are deemed to be incompetent or less than competent.
Yes, absolutely. So you can put those restrictions in there to put that if beneficiaries choose to have an alternative lifestyle to where they have, addictions to anything, it could be gambling, it could be drugs, alcohol, whatever, that they are not going to receive a distribution, or they'll receive a limited distribution, or that a designated person is going to receive their distribution in order to cover their living expenses. So you can specify that and you can put that in there.
Excellent. And the other question was, is it a good idea to pay yourself out of the family fund, or should you allow the fund to just fund your life? What would be most beneficial for, I guess, tax purposes?
So it depends, right? So for example, you want to do both. Okay. So for example, if you have your primary residence where you live and you put that primary residence into the trust, then it is up to the trust to be able to cover those expenses. Okay, so meaning that the trust is going to cover the utilities for that primary residence, the property taxes for that primary residence, the maintenance, um what else? Like the mortgage. So anything dealing with that primary residence, right? So that money doesn't have to go to you for you to then cover the living expenses. It can be taken straight out of the trust, okay? Because it's the financial responsibility of that trust for anything dealing with that, that house, okay? Even down to the groceries, or even down to providing for the beneficiaries, right? So the beneficiary has, let's just say they in private school, or they got a field trip, or they need books and all this stuff. It can come straight out of the family trust, okay? So all of that, you want it to come straight from the family trust. You can also give yourself a salary, and you can give yourself an amount that is below the standard, like the taxable income standard. So usually that's around like $12,900, something in that space. And so if you do that, then it's not going to trigger a taxable event for the person, for you, you and your social, right? But then that money you can use for things that are outside of the trust, like to get, manicures, pedicures, your haircut, whatever hygiene products, whatever you want, jewelry, whatever it is that you want on that side that is not dealing with the trust, then you're going to use those readily available funds for. But all things you kind of wanted to structure it to where it's trust business, right? So for example, your vehicle, right? So your vehicle, your gas, your maintenance, all of that, you can put that into trust business versus separating it and making it a personal expense. So you kind of want it to be a combination of both.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Next we have Lakia. How are you?
Great. How about you?
Wonderful, splendid.
That's great. So I had questions regarding the beneficiaries. I'm gonna have three of them. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing it numerically right. So I would do the first person as 33.34 and do the other two as 33.33 to
So
make it 100.
you should try to stay away from fractionalizing the TCUs, and you should just use whole units.
So 30, so one person would have 34 and then the other two would have 33. Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? Okay, great. And then when it comes to, I want to make sure that my beneficiaries only them and their children receive from my trust going forward, their children and then the grandchildren's children or what have you. So how do I actually word it to ensure that they're the only ones who get it? I don't want cousins, I don't want aunties or anyone else, my brothers or anything like that to receive any of the funds
Yeah,
from the
okay.
trust.
So in that section where we have inheritance of the TCUs, you just want to express that it's only going to be the beneficiaries and their heirs, and it's not going to be anyone else that has the same family name or that is related.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Oh,
You're
I do
welcome.
have one other
Yeah,
question.
go
I'm
for it.
sorry.
No problem. No
So
apologies necessary.
so when I'm putting my real property into the family trust and it comes out of my name and goes into the trust name, I'm still, am I still as the person, am I still liable for the loan?
Yes, you signed for the mortgage. You're still liable for the mortgage. Absolutely, yes. But financially, the trust is responsible for paying the mortgage, but the mortgage is going to remain intact. So it's going to remain in your personal name and it's going to remain on your personal credit.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Lakia. Next, we have Rita.
Yes, hi. So one of my questions is, once you place like say you place or transfer a bank account into the trust account that you open, um, is that basically whatever the amount of money you place in there is now regarded as income that the trust will be taxed on? Is that correct?
It depends on how you placed it. And so on Thursday, I'm going to have you guys document it as a loan. So
Mhm.
you can't be taxed on a loan. A loan is tax free. So
Okay.
it, so yeah, it just depends, and that's why we do it the way that we do it. And we're gonna do it on Thursday, where we're gonna be talking about the bank accounts and how to
Mhm.
structure you funding the bank accounts.
Okay. So let's say when you placed a car into the trust and you notify your car insurance that the trust is now the owner of that car, are there any, do they understand exactly what to do as far as the insurance now being like the responsibility of the trust and things like that, or
Yeah, so
how
it depends on the carrier. Some carriers require, paperwork. So you just have to fill out the appropriate paperwork, but now the policy is going to be under the name of the trust.
Okay, got it. And last question is, I was just glancing at some of the banks to see, make sure what their requirements are for opening the trust account. And when they give you these bullet points about to know about the trust, a lot of times they'll say things like, okay, irrevocable trust, this means that you can't change anything once you do that, right? Um, but what they're saying is not that the trust itself can't be amended or changed. That's what they're making it sound like, but that's not correct, right?
So the trust is irrevocable to the grantor. The grantor cannot make any changes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, got it. But as the trustee might make amendments or changes, they're noted and accepted and everything, right?
Yes. And
Okay.
you can make any changes that you want as long as you are doing proper documentation, which is you doing your board meetings and you documenting meeting minutes and you signing it and you adding it to your trust records.
Okay. And this is just your own personal records. Each time that's done, do you then present that to the bank or just
If you
just keep
make
it on?
If you make any changes, yes, you can present it to the bank. So some banks will ask you for your resolution or your meeting minutes, and some banks
Okay.
won't. I haven't
Okay.
experienced that, but you are going to be keeping proper, records so that in the event that that happens, meaning that you decided to change your account, close your account, anything like that, then
Mm-hmm.
you've documented that you've made those changes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Christina.
You're welcome. All right, next we have Harry. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Okay,
Awesome.
so I have about 3 questions for you, and we'll go through them very quickly. So we're constructing 3 trusts here: the business, the family, and the ministry. Is the grantor securing all 3 INs at the same time?
So if you are choosing to do it simultaneously, then yes. So it's up to you, okay, how you're doing it. So when you're saying the same time, are you setting up all 3 trusts at the same time? If you are, then yes. If you're using the same grantor, then yes.
Okay. So the next question would be is like when you're allocating the TCUs or UBIs, and you're planning on future um, beneficiaries, do you limit the number that you issue, or do you issue out all in one? Like, say, for instance, there's only one beneficiary now, and then you'll give that one beneficiary 100%. And as other beneficiaries come along, you subtract from that and make changes, or do you limit it from the beginning?
So, most likely what you would do is limit it from the beginning. And if you know that you're going to issue TCUs in the near future, just hold those TCUs inside of the trust until you issue them.
Okay, but you make provisions that if anything uh, should happen and there is no future beneficiaries, that sole beneficiary would receive all?
Not necessarily, no. So you would have to add that in there, but it's not in the trust as of right now. And so if you feel like that's the case, then the best thing for you to do is to issue all of the TCUs to the sole beneficiary until future beneficiaries come along.
Okay, thank you. So the final question here, and I think you may have answered it earlier, was how does the trustee live out of the trust? Is that trustee listed as a beneficiary as well, or do that trustee uh, operate and has expenses as trust business?
That's a really good question. So you can do it both ways. So a beneficiary can be a trustee, but they cannot be the sole beneficiary. There has to be other beneficiaries. I personally don't recommend you to do it that way. I recommend you to do it to where you are operating through the expenses, right? So whatever assets belong to the trust is trust business, and all of those expenses associated with those assets come out of the trust. Whatever beneficiaries belong to the trust, those assets associated with those beneficiaries, those expenses come out of the trust for those beneficiaries, right? So that means that your living expenses are covered, your children's expenses are covered. Anything that is not related to the trust, then you would issue out distributions. They have to pay taxes on it depending on the amount. And you would issue out a 1099 to yourself, and you would have to pay taxes depending on the amount.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, next is Marvell. How are you?
How you doing, Christy? I'm on the way to work again. Great work today. I just got
Thank
a
you.
question about. I mean, like I said, we talked about it earlier, but anyway, the way you teach is phenomenal. But my question
Thank you.
was, how do you totally get out of like somebody mentioned about the mortgage or the loan or whatnot? Is it possible for you to refinance your home to get it out of your name to put in a trust name? And if so, would you recommend a regular bank or a credit union for that?
Oh, okay, that's a really good question. So, yeah, if you want to get the trust, if you want to get the mortgage out of your personal name, then you do want to refinance that house and put it into the trust, or you would get a home equity line of credit for the trust and pay off the mortgage. So that would then put all of that debt and liability to the trust, and it's no longer personal debt, or you're no longer personally liable for it. So, as far as banks and credit unions, I personally use both. So it just depends on the terms and the credit union or bank that you want to go with. They're going to ask you for more paperwork when it comes to the trust. So they're going to ask you for the certificate of trust, and they're going to also ask you for proof of income for the trust. So tax returns or bank statements, so that you're able to prove that the trust can pay the mortgage or pay the credit, the line of credit.
Well, how do you do that if the trust has been established? Do you build that EIN number up in order to do
Yeah.
that, or?
So you have to give yourself time. This is not an overnight thing. So if you're providing bank statements, then you have to allow yourself time to actually have established bank statements. If you're providing tax returns, then you have to obviously allow yourself time to be able to have a tax return for the trust. So this is not like you can do this tomorrow.
Okay. All right, I got you. And I guess once a trust cannot be backdated, correct? Meaning, like if somebody was working on a trust for the past year, it doesn't really become into effect until it's sealed by the notary. Or like,
I didn't catch what you said. So you said a trust cannot, and then I didn't hear the other word.
no, I'm asking, can a trust be backdated? And if so, I mean, or if not, does it go into effect once the notary stamps it? Let's say you signed it October 23, but you don't get it notarized until October 24. When does it
Oh,
actually take
that's a
effect?
good question. Okay, so your establishment date and your notary date can be two separate dates. So let's just say me and you had the agreement today, October 29th, but then we didn't go and get it notarized until December. Our establishment date is still October 29th.
So are there any instances where you should backdate it, or you should never backdate?
No, you shouldn't backdate it. So whenever you're actually setting the agreement, that date is the date that you want to put.
Okay. All right, I got you. I'm gonna book a one-on-one with you. And we'll
All
go
right,
from there. Thank you so much.
that sounds good. Awesome. All right, next we have Daniela. Or is it Danielle? I'm sorry, I don't see an A. I can't hear you. You're on
Hi,
mute.
it's Danielle. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, your hair is
Okay.
so pretty. How are you,
Thank you.
Danielle?
Thank you. I'm well. Thank you. And thank you for the class and the teaching today. I really, I know we all appreciate it. So I just wanted to thank you first.
Thank you so much.
And real quickly, because I had technical difficulties yesterday. And so I missed out on like at least a good probably hour and a half. Will we have access to recordings?
Yes, you should have access to the
Okay,
recording. Do you have your login credentials? Because when you log
I
in, you'll
do.
see so do you see two different portals? One that
I
says
didn't.
you don't?
I didn't. I can check. I don't want to take up too much of your time on
No,
that
no
now.
problem.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me just send a message to the team so that they could just make sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, one second. DANY. Okay, I sent them your name, so they'll double check to make sure that you have access to the recording. So you have to log into the portal and you'll see all the recordings for all of the workshops. And so you'll see
All right.
yesterday uploaded, and then in about an hour or two, today will be uploaded as well.
Thank you kindly. So my question is that um, do you suggest there be a limit on how many times a grantor can be on a document? Like how many, like if there's 3 trusts or if there's 6 trusts, can the same grantor be used for each one?
Yeah, they are separate entities, so you can use the
Mhm.
same grant or you can use the same trustee for any and all trusts that you set up. So they're separate entities, they're not the same. And you don't like mix and mingle them and stuff like that. So you can use the same grantor for trust A identically as trust B and C and D.
Okay, I did hear you mention that you could use it, but I didn't know if there was like a limit. Do you suggest a limit? And the question or the concern goes up also for like the tax purpose for the grantor. Like, does it affect the grantor's name that goes into because some banks ask for the grantor, and does that affect their taxes in any way if it shows that it looks like they have all these assets, but them being a grantor of all of the assets, does that affects them in taxing in any way?
So no, it's against the trust for the income of the trust to be taxed to the grantor or for the income of the trust to be taxed to you. So that bank account is in the name of the entity. That entity also has an EIN, so that is associated with the entity's name and the EIN number for the entity.
Okay, gotcha. And let me think. Now one more thing, really quick. Yesterday, I didn't hear it mentioned in this. I was hoping it did pop up again, so I didn't have to go back to yesterday. I apologize since I did miss that. But could you I was actually going to look it up. The adversary trustee, could you just explain that a little bit? What the adversary trustee is? Because it was only in the business trust. I didn't hear it come up in this family trust.
Okay, correct. So that is when you personally do not want to serve as the trustee of your trust, which we do have people who don't want to be the trustee. They don't feel comfortable, they don't feel competent, they don't feel like they have, the skills in order, or sometimes you have older people that they're like I'm on my way out. Like the last thing that I want is to start running a trust, but I need it because I have assets. And so then you're going to hire someone to be your trustee. And so generally that is a third party company that provides trustee services. Sometimes you'll find it as a financial institution. Sometimes it's corporations and LLCs that provide trustee services, but that's what
Okay.
that is.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. That was it for me.
All right, perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Danielle. Next, we have Tamika. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I have two
Awesome.
questions. Can we use the same mailing address for all of the trusts? That's not associated with us in other ways.
Yeah, you can. So you can use the same address for all three trusts unless you're going to use your business trust as a holding company, then I would advise you to have a separate address for that holding company. That is separate from your family trust and your ministry trust.
Can you elaborate on why?
Yeah, so with the business trust, you're going to be out here doing business, right? You're going, and it's also going to own your LLCs, your corporations, and so it's going to be visible in the public records. So when you go ahead to change the ownership of your LLC to your business trust, it's going to be visible on the Secretary of State's website. So the name of the trust, the address of the trust, the phone number, sometimes the email, just depending on which Secretary of State. So because that information is available and easily able to search, you don't want another one of your trusts to be associated with your business trust that is listed on the Secretary of State's website.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Next question. Can you update the grantor on the IRS website? Well, like send an update in via whatever applicable document.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So all you have to do is fill out the 8822B form, which is the responsible party for the entity, and you can update that information at any point in time.
I had a final question, but I lost it, so I'm be done. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Tamika. All right, next we have India. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, India?
Good. Thank you for all the information. I really do appreciate it. I just had a couple questions. One of my first questions is, as far as bookkeeping for the trust, is there like a software that you prefer? Is it better to do book entries, like paper book entries? Like what's the best way for bookkeeping?
I personally use QuickBooks. So,
Okay.
but I started off with Excel. So it just obviously depends on you and how you want to operate your organization. So I got tired of using Excel and I went to QuickBooks and I paid for the higher tier for my organization.
Okay. And then whenever, like, if you do decide, how you said you could have multiple trustees on a trust, if you want to remove one of the trustees, like, and they are removed, do you have to like redo like some type of the paperwork, or like how do you have them removed off of that trust?
Yeah, so you're gonna have a board meeting where you're removing the trustee, and then the only thing that you have to then update is the administration contact form, where you're removing them as a co-trustee, and then you have to redo the certificate of trust. So if they were on their certificate of trust, as a trustee with their a notarized signature, you have to remove them, and so you have to do a new certificate of trust every time that you add or remove a trustee.
Okay. And then the last one was, okay, so for the distributions, right? So say for instance, you know, you're giving your child a set amount of distributions. If the distributions are in like a cash form, how do we know what they're spending the money on?
So you can ask them for their bank statement. So wherever you send the distributed funds to, you can audit that financial statement.
Okay. Cool. I think that was it. That's all I had.
All right, wonderful. You look beautiful. Thank you, India.
Thank you. So do you.
All right, next we have Lakia. Hi, Lakia.
Back again.
Okay, I see you on camera now. Okay.
I figured out how to use it, so.
Yeah, okay, good. Because I saw you on camera yesterday, so I was like, where's she at?
Okay, so I do have like 5 more questions. I'm gonna make them really quick. So the first question is, when making beneficiaries, do I make the business and the ministry trust, the beneficiaries would be the family trust? Is that like the best way to do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. And then when it comes to the homeowner's insurance, when you put the estate into the trust, does the insurance change over to the trust name, or do I have to do anything?
Yeah, you do. You have to contact the insurance company, and then all of the utilities too. So light, water, gas, all of that. You want to also change your utilities to the name of the trust as well.
Okay, and then when I do that, is it a possibility that the homeowner's insurance can decide not to take the put the home on in that insurance? Do they just change over the name, or do they have an opportunity to say, we don't want to insure you anymore because it's in the
No,
trust?
they should just see, they're not insuring you, they're insuring the house. And so you can have a homeowner's policy in the name of an entity. So a lot of people do it with their LLCs, their corporations. You can do it with a trust. So they should just update the name that's on the policy.
Okay. Then when it comes to the grantor and getting the EIN, do the grantor get the EIN numbers, or would I do that?
So you can either ask the grantor for their personal information. The only thing you need is their legal name and their social security. You can ask them for their personal information. You can do the application, or they can do the application themselves.
Okay, so it does have to be in their name. Okay.
So there's 2 sections when you do the EIN. So the first section is they're asking for the responsible party, and that is where you're going to put the grantor's full name and social. Then the second page, they're asking for the trustees information, and so you're going to delete their because they automatically pre-populate the grantor's information. So you delete it and you put your full name there.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna do it together, and you'll be able to see the whole process.
Okay, great. Then also, should one trust be open before another? So for example, should I have the family trust open first in order to make the business trust and the ministry trust the beneficiaries of the family trust?
You can. I mean, you can do it all simultaneously, or if you want to do it chronologically, you can. So as long as you're just reflecting the establishment date, then it's fine. It's fine. So generally, what we do is we'll establish the business trust, and then on paper it shows that the family trust is the beneficiary, but the family trust was established after, which is okay.
Okay.
So as long as you're just reflecting that specific entity's establishment date, then you're okay.
Okay, wonderful. And then let's see here, one more thing. Okay, as far as the protector, because I don't know if I should get one.
Authorized service provider.
And
you don't know if you should get one?
Monitored or recorded
Is that
for
you?
insurance purposes.
No, it's not me.
Para hablar con alguien en español, oprime el número 3. If you would like to place a new order, please press 1. To speak.
I guess someone is on the phone.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, definitely. We hear everything.
Okay, and then when it comes to the protector, are there like a company that can be a protector? Is there someone you can hire for that?
Oh, to be honest, there are third-party companies. I don't know the names of them.
Okay.
So you're just gonna have to do a little digging. But
Okay.
like any person that pretty much you know, is a fiduciary, like they can do it. Like, so a lot of people, they'll appoint their CPA as their
Okay.
protector, something like that, right?
Or a
Um,
lawyer?
yeah, an attorney, a banker, any kind of agent, you know, they'll appoint them. But there are companies, I don't have like a list of these companies, so they you know, serve in these different capacities that you need for the trust.
Okay. And then, I don't know if I have login for the portals, because when I go in, I haven't seen any portals. So I'm not
Oh
sure
yeah,
if I have it
okay. Hold on a
to
second.
watch videos.
Oh, okay, one second. Let me send them your name. Can you and into what's your last name?
Jones.
Okay. I sent it to the team, so they'll resend it, or
Okay.
and sometimes it goes to spam. I hear a lot of people, they say, oh, it was right there in spam.
Oh, okay. I'll check it. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
okay.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
You're
but
doing
they're
a
gonna
great
send it to you.
job.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate that.
All righty.
All right, next we have Uzi.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
My last question is I'm looking to begin to endeavor into real estate. And now with this endeavor in real estate, I understand the purpose of the trust is to hold properties or investments or any kind of thing of asset of value. Can I use this family trust as a vehicle to get into real estate, to hold my real estate so that it's not necessarily liable to me? Would that be advisable? Or should I put
Yeah,
only
yeah.
keep the real estate in the, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, no, I'm gonna allow you to finish and then I'll answer. What was the
Okay.
last part you was saying? Only
Or should I
allow.
only put my real estate into the business trust? Like if I any acquisitions that I make as far as real estate, should I only put it in the business trust and keep personal housing, lodging, and things of that nature separate in the family trust, or does it matter?
Yeah, it's the second one. So you should, if it's real estate because you're an investor and you have, you know, duplexes, triplexes, apartment complexes, things like that, you should be using the business trust for those transactions. The family trust should be for all personal stuff.
Okay. I was thinking that. I just wanted to be, finding clarity on that.
You're
That
right,
was
though.
pretty. Okay. Well, thank you. I've been listening to you for quite some time. Like I told you, the first time I talked to you, I listened to a bunch of people, and there was some white boy who was explaining this, and I didn't like the sound of it, so I stopped listening. But I didn't really understand him as well. So I'm just want to let you know you're doing an excellent job. Keep up the good work. You and your team are doing wonderful, and we really
Thank
appreciate
you
y'all.
so much. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much. I don't know, that's just the way that I was trained. So like if you heard anything about my story, like I was a registered nurse. So I was working in the hospital, teaching patients, you know, how to eat well and about their diabetic medication and everything like that. And so the way that I was taught is that I have to break it down to a third grade level. And don't use big words, don't use medical terminology and everything like that. And so now I apply that same foundation that I got, you know, educating, and I apply it here. So I teach in a third grade level. I break it down. I'm not going to use these big words so that you don't understand what's really going on. So I appreciate that, Uzi, for you recognizing. So thank you so much. And thank you for being here.
No sweat. Thank you for allowing me into y'all community. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next we have Rita.
Yes, I like to second what Uzi said as well. And I followed your story about your mentor that first enlightened you about all of this. And so like as far as all these documents, are these documents sourced from like Liberty Aid Academy or something like that? Or where is all this coming from exactly?
So it's just coming from throughout the years. So these are documents that I personally use, and I have been a trustee since 2015. So I'm not associated with any other company or academy or agency. So whatever academy that you're talking about, it's not the same.
Oh,
But
okay.
if you're associated with that academy and you go
I'm
ahead
not.
and compare the two, then you'll see that it's not the same.
Yeah, I'm not. I was just saying, for example, where are these documents sourced from, you know?
Mhm.
But okay, we can skip past that. So of the three trusts that we're going to be doing, can each one of them build a credit profile, or is it only the family and business trusts?
So so business credit is built off an EIN. So anything with an EIN can build business credit.
Okay. Okay, got it. And then for, you know, like you said, as an individual, you can donate up to 60% of your income to like a nonprofit trust. Um, can the like the family trust or the business trust, is there a percentage that up to a percentage that they can also donate to the nonprofit trust?
Yeah, generally we like to stay within 25% for other
Okay.
entities.
Okay, got it. Got it. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much, Christina.
You're welcome, Rita. Next we have Patrina. How are you? Patrina, you're on mute.
Yeah,
Okay,
my
perfect.
it gets stuck for some reason. But hello, everyone. I just wanted to go back to yesterday's question about section 23 in the business trust, and those are like legal things. And I just wanted you to go back through that just a little bit further, dig in a little bit more with that section.
Okay, no problem. Hold on, let me pull it up, okay? So you just want me to, re-explain it? Is that what you're looking for?
No, clarify it. So to the naked eye, it looks like we are saying that we know legal things that we may or may not know.
No, it doesn't say that. So it's saying if that is the case, right? Because you have some people who are paralegals, you have some people who are used to defending themselves in court, right? And so what we're saying here is that you as the trustee can also do that for the trust, right? So let's just go through it. So it says the trustee is authorized to represent the trust without a licensed attorney or law under the following conditions. So here are the conditions, okay? So the first one is that a trustee has a working knowledge of the law pertaining to both the trust and the issue that is represented. So for example, let's just say that you're being sued and by a tenant and is dealing with real estate, right? So if you have a working knowledge of real estate in that area and you personally as a trustee want to represent the trust in court, if your tenant is suing you, then you can do that. If you feel that you do not have a working knowledge of the law and you don't feel comfortable to represent the trust, guess what? You don't have to, right? You can get legal representation. You can get a real estate attorney to represent the trust in court. So that's what we're saying. So the second one is that you have the adequate experience with court procedures. If you have the adequate experience with court procedures, meaning you've been to court before, you've defended yourself, or you've defended your entity, like an LLC or a corporation or anything like that. If you have that experience, then yes, go and do it. If you don't, then don't do it, right? So that's why we have these conditions here. That's why we have these conditions here for you to better understand if you qualify to do it. So not everybody qualifies to do it. The next one, if you want to represent the trust. So if you feel like you want to represent the trust, if you feel like, okay, yeah, I could win this case, I have all of the legitimate evidence that I need in order to win the case, I'm going to move forward and I'm going to represent the trust, right? Because we all know and understand that you personally don't need legal representation, right? So you have the right to do it. I'm not telling people, I'm not saying, that you don't, right? So, and it doesn't say that here either. So it's clearly saying, if you want to, then do it. If you don't want to, then don't do it, right? The next thing is if you have the support from the other members of the trust, right? You have a governing body dealing with the trust. And so if those other members support you, if they're going to help you, if they're going to assist with any litigation proceedings, then you are more than able to continue because you have the support of the board, right? So that's what we're saying here. So now if you choose to get legal representation, then you're going to have to document it, right? So you're going to have a complete set of meeting minutes concerning the circumstance or the reason. So whoever is making claims against the trust, you're going to clearly define it inside of the trust, inside of the meeting minutes. So on Thursday, once again, I'll show you guys how to do a meeting, right? And so you're going to gather the board together. You guys are going to discuss this issue, and then you're going to decide if you have the support of the board to move forward, or you're going to decide if it's not advisable because of lack of knowledge, and it's advisable that you guys get legal counsel, right? So that all of that stuff needs to then be printed out, signed, and a part of the records, right? So if you have a trust protector, then the trust protector can also input into this decision. And if they feel, if you have a protector, and if they feel like, no, this is a bad idea, you know nothing about real estate, why would you go ahead and defend the trust, in this circumstance, then they can vote against that. And then moving forward, you won't be able to do it, right? If you feel like, if the trustee has a co-trustee who may have a licensed attorney or anyone else, you can approve, right? So if you have a co-trustee, if you have a board of trustees and they're like, okay, well, the best thing is we know someone who is a better fit to represent the trust. Let's choose this person. They're able to make, to advise and to make that recommendation. And then for any legal paperwork that is required, right? So you may not know how to fill out this paperwork, right? Sometimes they require, signatures from the deputy clerks. There's a lot of moving pieces. And so if you don't know how to fill out that paperwork, the last thing that you want to do is fill it out. So you're going to go to a paralegal, you're going to go to a licensed attorney or legal counsel that's able to assist with that stuff, right? So in here, we're saying, if you don't know how to legally represent the trust, don't do it. Get legal representation. That is the best thing. And that is what we are intending in order to protect the estate, because at the end of the day, that's what we want to do. We want to protect the estate. You will be doing harm to the estate if you decided to represent the estate and you didn't know how, and then you lost a proceeding that you very well could have won with the right representation. Does that make sense?
Yes, it absolutely does. Now, a second sidebar to that question. We just went by it really quickly yesterday, so I wanted to get some clarity, and you have done a great job doing it. So my question now is, what is considered the highest level of competent court for a
The Supreme
trust?
Court. The
Supreme
Supreme
Court.
Court. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
You're
it.
so welcome. Thank you. All right, guys, it is 2 o'clock. So whoever has their hand raised, we're going to finish with these individuals. Because remember, I said I just wanted us to be timely. We are here together for 5 days, you guys, okay? So we have, let me see how many people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 more people with their hand raised. So we're going to go through these questions, and then I am going to allow us to leave in a timely manner today. So we have Marbell. How are you?
No, Chris, you go ahead and let somebody else go. I already been one time. I'll save it for tomorrow.
Are you sure? No, it's not a problem. I just want to be respectful of everyone's time, because some people, they do make plans after 2, but then they don't want to leave and miss anything, and they end up missing their plans. And I don't want that to happen today.
Right. Gotcha. Now, all I was wondering is at some point in time in a lesson or in the future, would you show us exactly how to maneuver so you won't commingle, like as far as like in the private versus, you stand in the public and doing these certain things, these certain processes or whatever? Is that a thing, or just like some outside counsel that I would need? I
Yeah,
definitely
so
want to.
okay, that's a good question. So as far as moving the money around, I have the training inside of the portal. So the portal has, I want to say the portal has maybe, I don't know, 60, 70 hours of training. But us here together, we're only here for 5 days, 3 hours a day. So that's not something that I cover in the workshop. I mean, I have guest speakers that are coming. We only cover the essentials. So as far as the, income coming, as far as taxes, as far as moving money from one trust to the next, you have to go inside of the portal under where it says taxes, in order to look at that, in order to look at the training that I have on that. But it's not something that I have built into the workshop, and so I won't be able to go through that just because we have everything set up.
Oh, that's cool. No worries. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. So what I want everyone to know is that you guys have access to the course with the training, and there's more information on there, more information than we're going to cover live in the workshop, only because the workshop is limited. So I used to do 2 hours a day, and then I saw that 2 hours wasn't enough, and now I do 3 hours a day. But it's still not, it's not even in comparison to what you learn inside of the course. So there's more education in the course than you're going to receive in the workshop. The workshop is mainly for us being able to set up our trust, get our EINs, transfer our assets, the most important things. So, okay, so we're gonna, thank you, Marbell, appreciate that. Next, we're gonna go to Vicky. How are you?
Hi there. I missed the class yesterday, so I guess, so forgive me if I kind of ask questions related to yesterday. I missed the class, so I have to go over the recording. But anyway, I was wanted to ask about, you had mentioned today, initiating the trust, the corpus, with a dollar bill.
Mhm.
And it's been said that the dollar has no value. So is that relevant? I mean, if I open it up with a dollar bill or $100
So
or whatever.
you can choose whatever you want. If you personally feel like the dollar bill has no intrinsic value, don't use it. So a lot of people have chosen to use precious metal. A lot of people in our community have used silver. They've used gold because that is what they personally feel like they need to fund their trust with. A lot of people use more than $1. They use $100, $300, $500, $1,000. So ultimately, you have to choose what you feel has intrinsic value and what you want to fund it with.
Okay. And so if you're using precious metals, so you're actually going to the bank and giving them this tangible thing and putting it in
So
a
it
safety
does.
deposit or what? I don't.
Oh yeah. So it's not associated with the bank. It doesn't have to go in the bank. Nobody said that it had to go
Okay.
into the bank. So you have to receive it and you dispose of it or allocate it where you see fit as a trustee.
Okay. All right. I'll figure that out. But okay, so now when
So
opening up,
you gave the example about a safety deposit box. That's good. I give the example too. If you want to put it underneath a mattress, you can. Right?
is that placed into the minutes?
Say that again. What
You
you so
place that in?
Absolutely. So wherever you want to dispose of it, right? So if you don't have, not everyone has a bank account for their trust. So we can remove bank account from our mind. And if you are receiving assets for the trust, where do you deem that it's necessary for you to place these assets? It could be in a safe, inside of a closet, inside of the residence that you operate the trust out of.
Okay. And so when you decide to do that, you document that in the minutes that you're placing it wherever you're placing it?
Yeah, you can document
Okay.
it in the minutes, and it's also documented on the Schedule A.
On the Schedule A. Okay. All right. And then is it necessary to open up the trust at a bank that's considered a trust bank?
No, it could be any institution that offers trust accounts. It doesn't have to be a bank. It can be a credit union. It could also be a brokerage.
Okay. And so at any point, should any of the trusts be revocable?
That is a personal decision if you want to open up a revocable trust. None of the trusts that we provide are revocable because we believe in true asset protection, and your assets are never fully protected with a revocable trust. A revocable trust can actually end up in probate. So your assets are not fully protected. So if you do your due diligence, you will find that out. And that's why we don't recommend revocable trust. Why would you set up a trust knowing that the assets that you're placing in there are not safe?
Okay. And so when you say irrevocable, is that just irrevocable to the grantor?
Yes, ma'am. The grantor is the only
So,
party in the contract that has irrevocability.
okay, so it's irrevocable to the grantor, but the trustee can revoke.
Yes, so the trustee can revoke, can terminate, can amend.
Okay. All right, and so let's see. All right, so I guess later on in the next few days or whatever, are you going to cover the proper way to transfer property into the trust?
Yes, ma'am. On Friday, we are going to focus our entire workshop on transferring assets. So the first 2 hours are transferring assets. We'll go through the different steps, where to transfer it, how to properly document it. And then we'll go through the asset inventory list. And today I showed you guys how to list the assets that you plan on transferring. So that's on Friday.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Ms. Vicky. Next, we have Sheila.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Number one, can you please give us a proper place where we can write if we have additional questions?
Oh, yes. So there's a couple different places. So you can send me an email. You can send it to me or anyone on my team. So I can put my email in there. So you can email me info at the number 7waystowealth.com. It'll come straight to me. If you email my assistant Ika, her email is support@7waystowealth.com. So any one of us will be able to receive it instantly. If you don't want to do email, then we have a private Facebook community where you can put questions and we'll be able to answer them. And then we also have a Telegram chat where we chat back and forth on our phones, and you can place questions in there and we'll be able to answer them. And other than that, we have a community phone number, so you can either text the community phone number or you can call the community phone number and we'll be able to assist you with questions there as well. So,
Okay. Thank you. Keep going.
I was going to say we can put this information in the chat. Are you able to access the chat?
Yes, that would be great.
Okay.
The other question is it possible to pause after each section to see if there's questions then, so that as we pass through the documents, by the time we get to the end, we would be sure of what we think we understand? Is it asking too much to like ask questions in between as opposed to at the end?
So what we found that if we do Q&A in between the documents, we won't be able to cover the entire document in time. And so we used to allot 2 hours, and now we've extended it to 3 hours, and sometimes that's not even enough. So honestly, the best way is for me to go through the trust and then answer your question after, because if I start Q&A, which we've done before, in the middle of the trust document, we don't get to finish. So I think that it's more advantageous for us to actually finish going through the entire contract, and then us being able to answer any question. So that's why
Okay.
I tell people, just whatever section it is, just go ahead and write it down, and then we can go
Come
back
back
to
to it.
yes.
Okay. That's understood. I I have a very simple trust. It's just myself and my son. Saying that, do I have to have a board of trustees? Do I have to have a GM? The only thing I see that I need, and I'm learning, is that a backup trustee in case something happens to me, and I'd I'd like to be able to give my son the authority to use and or make any changes to the trust if something happens to me. Is that enough, or do I have to have a board of trustees, have a protector, have a secretary? What can I have as a minimum?
Yeah, so the board of trustees um is something that we use in order to protect you and in order to protect the trust estate. So it's like checks and balances. And we put the board in place in order to one, in order to identify that you have a governing body, some other individuals that are assisting you with the operation of the trust, and that it's not just you. Why?
Okay.
Because you don't want it to appear as if you are self-dealing, as if you are only operating this trust for the benefit of yourself, right? And
Yeah.
so it's very hard to appear as self-dealing if you have a board of trustees that are assisting you with carrying out all the tasks for the trust. You do not if you do not want a board of trustees, which we consider as best practice, then you would have to remove that from your trust documents. And then it'll just be you. It'll just be you and your son. So it's up to you. I personally don't recommend it, but it is up to you if you want to move forward with the board.
Okay. Most of the people that I would put on my board and also my grantor is out of state. Now I have to sign it, they have to sign it, and it has to be notarized.
Yeah, so
So,
the board members do not have to sign, so only the grantor and the trustee has to sign. So board members don't have to sign, beneficiaries don't have to sign.
but the grantor does. And if
Correct.
that person is out of state, how do we deal with that? Do we have to mail it to them? They sign it, it be notarized, then they send it back to me, then it's notarized again.
Yes, that's the exact process, Ms.
Okay.
Sheila.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you. All right, guys. So we have one more, Mr. Harry, and then we are going to wrap it up for today. Hi, Mr. Harry.
Hi, yeah, the final question is, you spoke about not having all eggs in one basket. So, what would be advisable if you have two properties that are free and clear? Should one go into the family trust and the other go into the business trust, or what would that structure look like?
Yes, that would be a great thing for you to do. So best practice is to do one trust per property. That's the safest way. Some people don't like to deal with that type of logistical stuff with their trust. So they'll put, all or majority in one, but so obviously you're not living in these two properties. So whichever property is for investment purposes, then you'll put into the business trust, and whatever property that you deem as your primary residence, you'll put into your family trust.
Okay, right, understandable. I'm living in one now, but I don't intend to in the future. But my primary goal is to get it out of the public eye.
Yeah, so in the future, the home that's your primary residence, you can put it. So right now you can put it into your family. You could put it into your family trust. In the event that you would have to move it over into another trust, you can do that. So you can deed over your property from one trust to another trust.
So the charity trust can own a property too?
It can. 1 second, Miss Rita. Mr. Harry, does that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
You're so welcome. So we're going to talk about the ministry trust tomorrow. The ministry trust can own property. So once we go into the contents of that trust, you will better understand. But yes, so think about it like a church. A church has a physical location. The church owns that location. So
Okay.
it can own property.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The last person I see is Robert Wilson, and we are wrapping it up, guys.
Hi, thank you
Hi,
so
Robert.
much.
How are you?
I am great. I'm great. And I hope you have a great and beautiful day and complete all
Thank
those
you.
tasks. And I thank you for setting us up with this, because it's these trusts are designed to be complex in design, and you're really guiding and walking us through this. It normally should take so much more time, but thank you for structuring the program. Actually expedites us through this, even with the time that it takes. But one quick question.
Thank you for saying
did-
that, Mr. Rock. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Yeah, just speaking the truth here, on what I see. So yes,
Thank you.
so I want to set up this IUL.
Yes,
The
perfect.
and so I've been looking into it, and I got a response from a company called Amplify. I'm also seeing something with Mutual of Omaha. I just want to see your recommendations so that I can just get a good company and start feeding this thing. I want to start depositing into it. I'm putting up a couple grand or two, to open up my trust. But I really want to start making deposits into this IUL. What do you recommend?
Yeah, so I am partnered with a company. They're called True Legacy Life Group, and we have an internal person in our community that she sets up everyone's IUL. Okay, so you are going to get to meet with her on Friday. She has a beautiful 90-minute presentation where she's going to show you how powerful a cash value life insurance policy is, specifically in IUL. You could also utilize this strategy with whole life, but it's a different animal. It works differently, but they still both build cash value. So she's going to show you the ins and outs of how to eliminate your debt and how to build wealth with that policy. So what I am going to do is I'm going to send you her calendar, but just know that she's going to be with us this week to educate us on the ins and outs. So you want to get that foundational education before you even begin to want to do an application for an IUL, okay? And so she's very thorough. She's just like myself, and she's going to hold your hand through this entire process, okay? And this is a journey. It's not a sprint. It's not, a get rich quick. It's not a, overnight sensation. All of those funny things. It's not that. So this
Right.
one, you need it to be properly structured. And so most times what we find out here is the carrier, it's very important for you to pick the right carrier. And it's very important for you to structure it the right way to where you are building high cash value and you have a very low death benefit. Most insurance agents, the higher the death benefit, the more money they make. And so they're going to sign you up with an insurance policy that has a very high death benefit so that they can make a lot of commission. That's not what we do here. So we pretty much, take a pay cut, right? Or lower our commission because we want to structure you the opposite way. We want to structure you to where you have a very low death benefit and you're accumulating high cash value. So that money that you're putting in every month, so if you're putting in $100 every single month, 80 of it is going to your cash value and 20 of it is just going to the insurance company. That's the way that you want it, where majority of the premium is going to cash value. And that's how we set you up. And we're honest and authentic about it. And I only send everyone to our community member, Miss Pierre. So she'll be able to help you with that. Okay. So I'm gonna send you her calendar link so that you can jump on her calendar. But then just know that she's coming into the workshop, so you'll be able to meet her and see her presentation and get that foundational education before you even, get started. So yeah, we that's why I'm telling you guys we have everything like planned out, so there's no real wiggle room for us to like start moving and doing other things. So there's a flow to this, and that's gonna be on Friday. So hang in there, okay? It's only Tuesday. Yeah. Oh, I can't hear you, Mr. Robert. I can't hear you. I think you're covering the mic. I can't hear you anymore. But it says that your mic is not.
Can you hear?
Oh, yeah, it's very low.
Oh, sorry. I was just wondering how
Okay.
many board members should we start with?
You should start with
Set
a
up to
minimum of
three.
three. Three board members, yeah.
Thank you so much, Christina.
You so welcome. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, guys. So we are going to wrap it up, you guys. I'm sorry I went 30 minutes over. I really do not mean to go over, but I do want to answer everyone's question. So with that being said, we are going to close our workshop for today. I do have homework for you guys. So please either post into our private Facebook community or into the Telegram chat and let us know why you decided to become a trustee. That's one thing that we want to know, because this is a journey, you guys. I keep saying it and I'm going to say it again. It is a journey, and right now you are in the process of becoming a trustee, and eventually you will have to pass the baton. You will have to, have your children, raise them to where they are trustees. And so we want to know why you decided to go down this journey to become a trustee. So that's our homework for today. So go ahead and post inside of the Telegram chat. And so Ms. Williams says she has problems finding the Telegram. So the link is inside of the email that you received for this Zoom, the Telegram chat. And I'll also have the team. We will put the links inside of the chat here on the Zoom room tomorrow. Okay. So with that being said, we are going to meet here tomorrow on Zoom. Tomorrow morning, an hour before our meeting, you are going to receive the information and resources. So you're going to receive the day 3 email. Inside of the day 3 email is going to have our Zoom link, the templates that we need for the 508c1a Ministry Trust, and all of the resources. So tomorrow we will be setting up our nonprofit tax exempt trust, and we'll go through that process. I'll show you how to apply for a tax EIN, and then we will show you how to go through an ordination process as well. So with that being said, you guys have a beautiful, blessed, and amazing day. Thank you so much for joining and sticking through the entire workshop. And I will see you here tomorrow, same time, same space, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So everybody have an amazing day. Thank you guys. Bye.